Knowing what to do in an emergency can mean the difference between life and death. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of heroism in the face of danger and despair on Rescue 911. We begin on the evening of March 1st, 1990 in Omaha, Nebraska, as Colleen and Mike Campos and their 12-year-old son, Clint, were getting ready for bed.
It was about 3 years ago when he started having trouble. Right in the middle of a sentence, you could see him, his look on his face would change. He'd go, I can't breathe. And that's when it all started. It's not always in the night, but his worst times are always at night because everything is slowed down and shut down. When the season was bad and he'd drive, it was just every night you could expect that he'd have the asthma attack. It always started with a cough. We'd wake up, but whoever would wake up first would holler, get up on your machine. Get on the machine! He'd have to get up and get a machine which relaxes the airways and makes it easier for him to breathe. It had gotten so bad the last few months that we knew he had to be up quick when he went into his attacks. It was just going downhill is what it was doing.
On that night, never got a chance to use his breathing equipment.
He was standing there trying to pull air in, but nothing would happen. That's when I went running into the bedroom to try to find the shots. He keeps epinephrine shots for an emergency.
I came around the corner and he was getting ready to call. I put my head on his chest to hear his heart or to see if I could hear him breathing because he wasn't breathing. She couldn't find his shots. He was already turning blue. There was no breathing, no heartbeat, nothing. I thought I'm going to lose him.
The call came in to dispatcher Danette D'Amato at 11 p.m.
Emergency service. I need a rescue squad. My son is having an asthma attack and turning blue. How old is he? 12 years old. 12.
As I was approaching the fire station, the squad passed me going the other direction. They didn't have a paramedic on board. At that time, I went ahead and turned my vehicle around and responded behind the squad.
Volunteer paramedic Glenn Colsheen followed the ambulance toward the scene. When we continue.
Okay, ma'am, you're going to have to calm down so we can try to help him, okay? Okay. No CPR. CPR? Yes. No. Okay, does anybody there? No.
When 12-year-old Clint Campos suffered an asthma attack late one night, he collapsed and stopped breathing. His parents did not know first aid. 911 dispatcher Danette D'Amato was their only hope for saving Clint's life.
What? He's 12 and he's 12. Yes, he's turning blue. Okay. He's not breathing. He's not breathing at all? Do you know CPR? No, he's not breathing. He went totally out.
Sarpy County dispatchers are specially trained in the use of emergency medical instructional cards.
You're going to have to calm down so we can try to help him, okay? Okay. No CPR. CPR? Yes. No. Okay, does anybody there? No. Okay, where is he laying on the floor? Yes. Is there a pillow under his head? No. Okay, make sure there's not. Make sure he's laying flat on his back. He's totally out. Okay, what I want you to do is... Ma'am, you're going to have to calm down, okay? I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you mouth-to-mouth and CPR, okay? Okay. Mouth-to-mouth. Help is on the way.
I was starting to lose her. She was starting to get hysterical. And at that point, I think she knew that she had to calm down in order to help her boy.
Put your ear right next to his nose and make sure. Nose? Yeah, make sure for sure that he is not breathing.
We had already spent a good minute or so. We had to start breathing for him.
Feel a pulse. Can you feel a pulse at all? I can't tell. You can't tell at all? Is there a pulse? No! No! Okay. Ma'am? Yes? Are you instructing somebody else to do this? Yes, my husband. Okay. This is what I'm gonna tell you what to do. Okay, he's flat on his back. Yes. Doesn't have a pillow. No pillow. Okay, I want him to put his left hand under his head. His left hand under his head? Lift up under his neck a little bit. Okay. Now, okay. I want him to pull up on... Lift up under his neck. Okay. Okay. Check and see if he's breathing. What? Check and see if he's breathing. He's not. He's not. There's nothing. Okay. I'm going to tell you what to do. Okay. Tilt the head back. Tilt the head back. Lift up his airway. Pinch his nose. completely cover his mouth. Completely cover the mouth. With his mouth. With your mouth. All right. Force 2 deep breaths of air into his lungs. 2 deep breaths. Okay. Okay, just like you're blowing up a balloon. Right, like and watch for his chest to rise. Get his chest to rise. All right. Is he breathing? He started breathing. Let go of his nose. He's foaming. He's foaming. He's foaming. Okay, okay. Turn him on his side a little bit. Turn him on his side. So he doesn't choke. Okay. Okay. Is he breathing? Yeah, he's moaning. Okay, good. He's not breathing good, but he's moaning. Okay, okay. Is he breathing? He is breathing. When he get up, he's got one coming. You've got to keep your head. All right. He's not breathing again? He's breathing at all. Okay, put him back on his back again. Back on his back and start again. You've got to keep oxygen in him, Mike. You have got to...
Mike was totally horrified. Just this terrible desperation. As time ticked on, just went from bad to worse.
Being a father of 4 children who've had medical problems in the past, life-threatening problems, it hits right at home.
Is he throwing up? Oh, he's supposed to breathe when he sees. Ma'am, tell me what's going on. Ma'am, he's throwing. Ma'am, what's he doing? He's throwing up. There's something coming out. Okay, okay. Turn him on his side so he doesn't choke on it. Okay. If he can sweep it out of his mouth. Sweep it out of his mouth and get air in. Is he moaning now? I don't know. What is it, Mike? What's coming out of him? Something red. I don't know. Okay. Is he breathing? There's a funny noise coming out of him. Come in, Mike. She's helping us. Please.
I gave him probably 2 or 3 more deep breaths, and then I could feel his lips start to tremble. I thought it was his last breath.
Clint started to make this little noise. It sounded like it was coming from the center of him, but it sounded like it was 100 miles away. And that was personal. That was Clint. And then he started to take little breaths like that. And that was our first sign that he is still here.
Ma'am, he's breathing. Good. Well, just keep him like that. I'm going to stay on the phone with you. He's on his side. Should we keep him that way or should we keep blowing? No. If he's breathing, I don't want you to do any more mouth to mouth. Okay. Tell him to put his hand underneath his neck and tilt his head again. That'll help open his airway. All right. What's your name? My name is Colleen Campos. You did really good, Colleen. Oh, God. And what's your phone number?
I knew what her phone number was. It wasn't important, but you get him thinking about something else.
Excellent job. Just try to stay calm.
Just in case something else should develop, it's still important to stay calm.
I want you to tell me if there's any kind of change at all. All right. Turn on the porch light, Mike. Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God.
Deputy Sheriff Bill Chizek was the first rescuer on the scene.
Okay, they're here. They're there? They're here. Okay, I'll let you go. Okay. Okay. Bye. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Bye.
I hung up the phone, took a deep breath, stood up, and I said, oh, my God. We just revived a 12-year-old boy who had stopped breathing.
124/90.
When paramedics arrived, Clint's breathing was still labored, but his vital signs were improving, and he had begun to regain consciousness.
I went over and stood with Mr. and Mrs. Campus. I said, both of you did a fantastic job. And Mrs. Campus said, well, it wasn't us, the emergency dispatcher. She was the one. She was great. She saved his life.
Clint was taken to the hospital where he was treated for a mild case of pneumonia and a collapsed lung resulting from the asthma attack. Since that night, Clint and his parents have become more aware of what to do to prevent severe attacks with the help of Dr. Manju Patni.
Asthma is a disease that can be fatal. The kids that have severe asthma should know that this can happen. He has to be able to recognize his symptoms when he's getting tight and whether he needs more attention. Parents should know their child. They should know the dangers. Plus, they need to know CPR. Very important.
We had to rethink our view of asthma. Now we knew it could mean life and death. We're learning, he's subtle, Clint is, so we're starting to work together on signals, what to look for, him being more vocal, to tell us, you know, I'm having a little trouble today. That way we can start working on him right away as far as medication.
The Campos are grateful to the 911 dispatcher who was there when they needed help.
The operator, she was like team leader. We were only working with a few minutes, and that would have meant his life. Thank you is not enough.
The CPR class, the whole family's getting involved in that. Life's valuable and it's precious, and, you know, you don't want to take nothing for granted.
We've got another chance. I couldn't believe it. I thought, we've got another chance. He's starting to get into those argumentative, bullheaded teenage years. Thank God I've got this chance to watch him do his changes, to be obnoxious, you know, and then to be good, too, when he is.